Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy Sunday. You feel me? I really appreciate that. The channel has been getting about 1,000 views every single day between the four videos, and I am surprised and also very humbled in that we already have a few hundred people who are down to do nothing. I don't know if it's jumping on the bandwagon or jumping off the bandwagon. We'll leave, sitcoms, most notably Seinfeld, to deal with that dilemma. But I will tell you, there was no solution even at the end of that episode. But regardless, the kind of energy that I'm trying to vibe on right now is like, seriously, like, yeah, it actually is going to happen. Hundreds of thousands of people, I'm more than are more than convinced, are like down with the cause, and if the cause is nothing, then like I'm saying that it's a pretty easy sell. Tonight I want to actually talk, and what's really interesting is that, okay, that's what we're talking about. So like I went on, sort of this mind spree today, as it was with impromptu topics. So I'm sitting here behind my desk, on a Sunday afternoon and hanging out with Mary Jane or whatever, just normal stuff, just nothing. And I'm making notes. I like to make notes. I'm also writing a couple of like books or whatever. No big deal. I'm sure, I mean, it'll get done, but let's see how many people read them. Anyways, so like I am, a note taker, you feel me? And I was taking some notes and I came up with a bunch of topics, and a minute into the video, I've already sort of forgot where I was going. But let me tell you guys, I was really happy on, like all day today and all like the few days this past week, just because of how well the channel's doing, and like I half expect there to just be, 5, 6 views on each video again, but it hasn't happened. And so I seriously like thank you guys. And so much so that like, okay, there was, you think about it, there's 4 videos a day, roughly each video is about 10 minutes, so 40 minutes a night, you know what I mean? 40 minutes a night is what I'm able to provide y'all with off the dome content, you know what I mean? And for all intents and purposes, again, like, I'm obviously super down for the cause, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be doing it. One, and two, because I like the idea, Forget the guy who's doing it. I like the idea. Some ideas are good, some ideas are bad, and I just like the idea of being able to provide almost an hour of original content every single day. I think that's cool, And I mean, like, seriously, tonight we're talking about. And so my dilemma becomes, there's a lot of things to talk about. And, the thing is, while I'm sitting here pondering nothing, or you feel me, making notes about subject matter and topics and so forth, I've yet to go back to the extemp talk format, you know what I mean? And that's something that I've chose to do. It's already the end of July. We've done literally nothing I've said we were going to do at the beginning of July, but there's stepping stones and there's ways of moving forward. So it's our weekly reminder about policy. So public policy, and as it would be like the future of public policy. And I think that one of the larger themes here on the channel is to sort of get the conversation going, with people that are in the appropriate age demographic, of course. Although the channel welcomes everybody, you know what I mean? My 90-plus-year-old neighbor downstairs could vibe on the channel. It's all good, because and I'm not joking on this. I'm sure her and her cohort group would be absolutely happy to receive universal basic income. And so, as a social capitalist, right, as somebody who identifies as such, and if you don't know what that means or if that makes you uncomfortable, I strongly encourage you to look down below, scroll down, you feel me, search through my videos, and I have a few that talk about what being a social capitalist means. And one of the foundational concepts of a social capitalist is ensuring through governmental measures that constituents and citizens are taken care of on the very basic level that they need to be taken care of in order to sustain an ultimate peaceful and stable life, free from, like crippling medical bills, free from a lot of things that typically first world modern people have to deal with, all because of arbitrary policy decisions made on behalf of them by their elected officials, be it the fall of Rome or like, electing Donald Trump to be our president again. Whatever the case is, it's really important that we continue to talk about things that promote equality and democracy, right? As it would be. As a social capitalist, you feel me? We have many different viewpoints, as it would be. Democracy is a really good thing, actually. It can be a good thing. A democratic republic can be a really good thing. It allows for there to be the opportunity for folks like myself and all you younger cats out there to actually consider universal basic income as a foundational sort of platform moving forward for different social capitalistic ideas moving forward into the future as it concerns public policy reform and electing officials and inevitably dealing with the electoral college as they need to be dealt with. You feel me? And I just okay, so universal basic income is something that is like highly politicized in that mostly older people and some grumpy millennials for sure are like all about this hardcore work ethic. You feel me? Like in terms of we could all be like Elon Musk if we work hard enough. I'm an Elon Musk fan, but we're not all born with parents that own gem mines. And again, he wasn't born into a circumstance, he made his own wealth. It's not like his parents made him the richest man in the world or whatever, you feel me? So kudos to him, but to use that as a standard, and I've said this on the channel before, as a metric of one's own success is like a never-ending, sort of chase that, like, honestly, as it is, we're not going to get there. You feel me? You're not going to be many people that like sort of attain this kind of financial success in their lifetime, and I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to make hundreds of billions of dollars, but in the event that I do, I hope that I do, so that I can sort of I don't know, give 80% of that away, and the other 20% used to live a good life. You feel me? And so the thing is, universal basic income is the idea that everybody over, like, I would say the age 16, because it's important to define the parameters of which future public policy that will in fact be passed is discussed moving forward, and all of the infrastructure sort of concepts it's going to need to sort of like get the kind of momentum moving forward it must to change the future as it would be. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're dealing with a current time in our era where there are no jobs. Again, it's a convenient thing to say that there aren't any jobs when you have a job, or when you have a career, or when you're old enough to have been with the workplace long enough to get benefits, something that people under the age of 40 have never even heard of. You know what I mean? So like there's always the perspective of bias and where that comes from, but the fact of the matter is artificial intelligence, as it would be, and I roll my eyes because computers, technology is well in motion to take all of our jobs a lot faster than any of us could have actually predicted. And I am a futurist in a kind of positive way. I've said this publicly before, and to some avail, I'm sure, with just my own superstitions and so forth, but like I'm about AI, I'm about working with computers, I'm about having somebody, another life on, the team to sort of address issues that must be addressed. And one of them is giving people money to like live. Okay, so if the idea is in a capitalist world, right? The idea is in order to get money to play the game, you got to go do stuff. You feel me? And all that UBI means is that like you get the money to do stuff without having to go do something to get it. Now, like, are we going to philosophically boomer debate, like the accolades and the merits as to who deserves what, and that whole sort of discriminatory rhetoric about, one person working harder than the next, and therefore, being able to claim that they have, the right to have more and more and more. And, not to take away from any of these people who want more, 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 and more. I mean, we live in a world that runs on this very idea, whether it's capitalism, social capitalism, whether it's, communist China, like, it doesn't really matter. You feel me? There's always people behind the scenes always working tirelessly to bring you forth the best possible results that we can possibly bring you. And sometimes they're not all that good. Most of the time, they're not all that good. They haven't been all that good in recorded history, so far as I'm concerned. But, with this current experiment, the reality that I find myself in, I'm happy to say that, I want people to play the game. I don't want people to not play the game of socioeconomics, the game of being able to like immerse yourself in the surrounding area in a positive way so that you're a positive net to the surrounding people in its area, because otherwise you're literally the opposite. And most oftentimes we're not capable of feeling like that within a community because of the inequalities that people not just see, but also I'd argue are part of a problem because we see it and do nothing about it. And I'd argue that's worse than not knowing anything about it and not doing anything. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's like we know we know how like unequal the world is, and we know that people need money to play the game, except for some reason we've been brainwashed to the point that like we think for some reason we're only allowed to play the game, but like that's pretty toxic in that the game requires more players. Again, with perpetual growth, right? We need as much participation as possible. And whether that's from bot driven traffic on the fake internet or whatever to actual people, I mean, and I think the thing is you want people to be healthy. I mean, so far too long people have made money off of people not being healthy, so like there's still money to be made, my friends, the people who want to, have endless amounts of money to do, I'm not sure exactly what, but whatever floats your boat, it's cool. I'm just saying that like there's still there's enough we can afford to pay people to stay out of having to do tasks and accomplish objectives and missions to get points to play their game. You know what I mean? Like, leave that up to us. Leave that up to the people who are willing and still want and are competitive by association and not by mandatory sort of dictation. You feel me? Like, it's one thing to actively compete against people who want to compete against you, and it's another to exploit people who clearly don't want to compete because, well, not everybody wants to be, on top. Not most people, I would argue, want to live a stable and peaceful existence, free of all of the economic dilemmas that sort of dictate the way people live their lives. When again, that shouldn't be the case. So universal basic income, we talked about it a little bit differently tonight as we always sort of evolve with the content on the channel, but the message will never change here on the channel. And I, as a 36-year-old white-haired dude who's not shaving till October 27th, stay tuned, I'm convinced that this country will evolve. It must evolve. It's definitely not going anywhere. I mean, whatever kind of public policy you'll see in the next 50 years is going to be different. And it needs to be different because I love my country. I love the United States of America. And I look forward to being a part of a community on a global level that implements positive change. And one of those implementations is universal basic income. And, moreover, it needs to be a social service program that, like, stays with current economics and inflation. And, again, like, it needs to be something that happens sooner than later so that we can figure out and work out all of the bugs. Because, again, anybody over or anybody at the age of 16 and up, like, on top, again, of their other social programs or whatever, this is something very different. UBI must happen. You feel me? Like, again, it's really important that we talk about it, which is why we talk about it so much on the channel. And again, it is a foundational principle and it's a core belief of being a social capitalist is having universal basic income. That's pretty easy, I'd say, to like put in if I had to a box. You know what I mean? But we're going on 15 minutes. We're gonna end this video. I have so much more to talk about tonight. I hope that you guys have a lovely Sunday, and thanks again for giving me your time. You feel me? I hope that you guys like what you're seeing, and I will continue to provide you with the best of this kind of content that I can provide. And I'm happy to do that because I like how it's so ironic, and you guys vibe with me on that. You feel me? So, all right, bye.